Welcome to the Wellness Protocol, your source for guidance on metabolic health, hormones, and longevity. I'm Dr. Alessia Roehnelt, double board certified endocrinologist, and on each episode, I'll share simple tools rooted in science and experience to help you feel better, live longer, and take control of your health. Welcome back to the Wellness Protocol. I'm your host, Dr. Alessia Roehnelt, and today we are diving into one of my favorite topics, longevity. When most people hear longevity, they think simply living longer. But the truth is, longevity is not just about how long you're living or your lifespan. It's about health span. That means the number of years you live in good health, with good energy levels, with independence and vitality. Because let's be honest, what's the point of living to 90 if the last 20 years of it are spent battling chronic illness, immobility, cognitive decline, just constantly going to doctor's appointments? And here's the really fascinating thing. Aging itself is the biggest risk factor for almost every major chronic disease that we fear. Heart disease, cancer, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's. And this has been highlighted in multiple journals like Nature Aging in 2022, Cell Metabolism in 2013. The research is clear. If we can slow the process of aging, we can dramatically reduce our risk for these diseases. So today, we are going to take a deep dive into what science says about longevity, and more importantly, what you can do in your everyday life to not just live longer, but to live better. We'll cover the biology of aging, nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, and even some of the cutting-edge research on medications and supplements that are being studied for their longevity benefits. And honestly, this isn't about perfection. It's about making some intentional choices most of the time that compound into massive benefits for you in the future. Think of it like investing. Every health choice you make today is a deposit in your future health account. So grab a notebook, maybe go for a walk while you listen, and let's dive into the fascinating science of longevity. Let's start by talking about what actually drives aging. So in 2013, there was a landmark paper in Cell outlining the process that's now called hallmarks of aging. These are the key biological processes that over time cause our bodies to wear down. Some of the big ones include genomic instability, which basically is DNA damage over time. It includes mitochondrial dysfunction. So your mitochondria are your cell's powerhouses. And when they start to break down, your energy production declines significantly. Also, cellular senescence. Basically, that means these old zombie cells that stop dividing, but they refuse to die, and they cause inflammation. Also, deregulated nutrient sensing. So things like insulin resistance, where your body is no longer responding to proper signals. And chronic inflammation. Sometimes this is referred to as inflammaging. These processes don't happen overnight. They accumulate slowly, which is why we don't notice them until we're older. The good news is that research suggests we can slow or even partially reverse some of these hallmarks with just lifestyle changes. One fascinating example of this comes from the blue zones. These are the regions of the world where people live the longest, healthiest lives. Places like Okinawa in Japan, Sardinia in Italy, and Loma Linda in California. Studies published in JAMA and the American Journal of Lifestyle Medicine show that their diets, their daily movement, their social connection, and low stress all play a huge role in extending not just lifespan, but their health span. So let's talk about food, because nutrition is one of the most powerful levers that we have here. First, let's talk about protein. Now, muscle is often referred to as the organ of longevity. Research shows that maintaining muscle mass as we age is one of the strongest predictors of survival and independence. That means that aiming for adequate protein in your diet, up to 1 to 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight every day, and sometimes more if you're very active or you're bodybuilding. Second is anti-inflammatory foods. So diets rich in vegetables, fruits, olive oil, fish, nuts, legumes, like the Mediterranean diet. They have been shown in the New England Journal to reduce cardiovascular disease and mortality. And third, minimizing ultra-processed foods and refined sugars. There have been several studies showing that higher consumption of ultra-processed foods is associated with increased risk of early death. Now, what about fasting? Intermittent fasting and time-restricted eating, that's a pretty fascinating topic. There's some research that suggests that restricting eating to this 8 to 10 hour window can improve your insulin sensitivity, that kind of fights diabetes and prediabetes. It can improve your blood pressure, and it can even improve markers of oxidative stress. And then finally, longevity isn't about extremes. It's about consistency. So eating mostly whole nutrient-dense foods while still allowing for some flexibility is what makes it sustainable. Now, while nutrition is one pillar of longevity, movement is another. Strength training is literally a longevity drug. Studies have shown that just 30 to 60 minutes of resistance training per week was associated with a 10 to 20% lower risk of all-cause mortality. And muscle mass does so much. It protects you against falls. It protects you from osteoporosis and reduces your risk of fracture. And it really helps fight a metabolic decline. But don't forget about cardiovascular fitness as well. There are devices that can measure your VO2 max, and that basically is telling us about your aerobic capacity. And that is one of the strongest predictors of lifespan. Studies have shown that higher cardiorespiratory fitness and a better VO2 max is directly linked to lower mortality without any upper limit benefit. That basically means the fitter you are, the longer you live. And there are devices available to measure this VO2 max. Many people feel that VO2 max is a way to measure your biological age outside of your chronological age. For instance, if on paper you are 50 years old, you might do a VO2 max test, and that might put you at a biological age of a 40-year-old. Or, unfortunately, it could put you at the biological age of a 70-year-old. But this is a way to test your biological age to get a better idea of your health span. But it's not just about these intense workouts all the time. Daily movement is so critical as well. Just walking during the day, taking the stairs, gardening. These type of exercises really add up tremendously. Now, aside from exercise, you also need to take into account sleep, because sleep is when your brain clears out waste products through something called the glymphatic system. Poor sleep can actually accelerate aging and increase the risk of dementia because you can't clear out these toxins that your body is supposed to be clearing. There was a study in 2021 that found that people who slept less than 6 hours a night had a higher risk of developing dementia compared to those who slept 7 to 8 hours. So you hear about this all the time, that you need to get sleep, you need to prioritize sleep. Sleep is so important. There's actually a scientific reason for that, and it absolutely has to do with longevity. We can't talk about a healthy lifestyle without discussing stress. Chronic stress raises cortisol levels, but over time, that can contribute to excessive abdominal fat. It can cause insulin resistance and increase your risk of cardiovascular disease. Now, the solution to that is not a pill to lower cortisol or a supplement to lower cortisol. The solution is to lower the stress that is driving your body to make all this cortisol. So mindfulness, meditation, prayer, even time in nature, all of these can lower stress and improve health span. And one component that I think is very interesting in when they study these people who live in the blue zones is how you can't underestimate the importance of social connection. Loneliness is actually considered as harmful to health as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Can you believe that? Loneliness is considered as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. I find that absolutely fascinating. It really just emphasizes how important it is to have that social connection. Purpose and community are very powerful longevity tools. Now let's talk about some of the new and exciting research, as well as controversial research, in the areas of longevity. First, let's start with some medications. Number one, metformin. Metformin is a medicine we use all the time in the world of endocrinology. We use it to treat prediabetes. We use it to prevent full-blown diabetes. We use it to treat full-blown diabetes. We use it in women with PCOS or polycystic ovarian syndrome. We use it in women trying to get pregnant because it has been shown to improve egg quality and reduce miscarriage rates in women with PCOS. But right now, it is also being studied as a possible anti-aging medication. The nice thing about metformin is it is a very safe medication. There is only a small subset of people who really can't take a medicine like metformin based on their kidney function. Sometimes it can have side effects like stomach upset and diarrhea, but most people actually can tolerate metformin very well, and it could potentially improve your longevity. Rapamycin is another medication that is currently being studied in animals. So in animals, it's been shown to extend lifespan by targeting the mTOR pathway. This was published in Nature Reviews Drug Discovery in 2021, and human trials are actually starting with this medication. And many of you may have heard of something called NAD or NAD plus boosters. So these supplements have shown some promise in improving mitochondrial function, though human evidence is limited and still emerging on this subject. And a component called spermidine, which is found in foods like wheat germ and soy, it's actually been linked to improved autophagy, which is when the body destroys unnecessary cells, and it's been associated with a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease. But there is a big push for these medications to be studied and used in patients looking to optimize their health span. And let's talk about some tests that can be done to look at somebody's longevity or their health span. Number one, full body MRIs. These are scans that are done without any radiation that look for any abnormalities, masses, tumors, things like that. There are also these advanced cancer screening blood tests. So interestingly, some blood tests are being developed to identify whether cancer cells are present in the body. Unfortunately, many of these tests do not say where the potential cancer could be, but at least it's a way to take blood work, screen the blood, and see if there are any potential abnormalities. And if something is found, you can then start to scan different organs and try to find where the problem is. But this is a way where cancer might be detected in just a blood test. As we talked about before, the VO2 max testing, that can really give us a good idea of somebody's biological age and their cardiovascular health. And in-body scans or metabolic composition scans are a great way to determine how much muscle mass someone has. And again, muscle is so critical in the world of longevity. So these are really making their way into longevity clinics as well. But remember, despite all these fancy tests and technology and devices, the foundation for this is still a healthy lifestyle. Remember, the people living to 100 years old plus in these blue zone regions are not undergoing all of this testing all the time. They just have a very healthy lifestyle and they live it day after day. So remember, no amount of supplements is ever going to take the place of a healthy lifestyle. They are just to complement a healthy lifestyle. So let's talk about a few take-home strategies that you can start today. Number one, with regards to nutrition, prioritize protein and whole, nutritious, unprocessed foods. The closer to nature they are, probably the better they are for you. You want to shop the perimeter of the grocery store where they have everything that can spoil. Everything there is refrigerated. Those are the type of foods you want to buy because natural food spoils. You don't want to be constantly buying products that are so overprocessed they can sit on a shelf for years and not change at all. Number 2, strength train at least twice a week. I would encourage a little bit more, or maybe take 2 long sessions and break them up into 5 short sessions so you really get it in every day of the week or every work day. But you also want to make sure that you are moving all the time. Take breaks at work, do some standing squats right at your desk, walk around the halls, go up and down the stairs in your office building. Any way that you can move during the day is going to be better than just sitting in a chair for 8 hours. Number 3, protect your sleep like your life depends on it, because honestly, it does. Number 4, you have to manage stress with intentional recovery practices. You can't let stress constantly be fueling this cortisol fire. You have to find ways to manage some of your stress. And number 5, remember to stay connected with people, with purpose, and with community. The exciting part here is that longevity isn't a mystery. We already know so much about what works. The challenge is consistency and incorporating these things into your daily life. So as we wrap up today's episode, I want you to ask yourself, what is one deposit I can make into my future health account today? What is one thing that you can do that is investing in your future? Maybe it's choosing a protein-rich breakfast, or going for a walk after dinner, or texting a friend that you haven't talked to in forever and just saying, hey, do you want to meet up for dinner? Small things like this will absolutely add up. So I really would encourage you to at least try to change one thing today for the better. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Wellness Protocol. If you found today's episode helpful, please share it with a friend or family member who cares about living a longer, healthier life. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe so that you never miss an episode. You can also follow me on Instagram at EndoHealthDoc, where I share daily tips on hormones, metabolism, and longevity. Until next time, I'm Dr. Alessia Roehnelt, reminding you your future health starts with the choices you make today. Take care.